Hey guys! So today you and I are going to talk about being in a weird spot. Let's get into it. So the question in question was, "Hi Frederick, I have a question for you. I'm in a weird spot right now career-wise. I'm not where I want to be, and it's mainly because my resume screams a doer. I want to be an achiever, but the problem is whenever I try to make an impact, I get blocked by either budget or managers who are who are scared of code, and believe me, I'm not pushing meaningless changes for the sake of it. Everybody knows there are issues, and the only thing they do is block the engineers who want to fix them. It's like everyone has no career goal and are completely okay with doing the same mundane tasks forever without solving any actual problem. I've been in this situation for 6 years non-stop. Small startup, mid-level company, huge enterprise, it's all the same. How do I break out of the doer status at this point? Thanks. Well, that's actually not that difficult. But it is something that is going to be different for you, because my suspicion is that you are going about this as an engineer, and there is an element that will help you when it comes to be as far as being an engineer is concerned, but there is something that most likely is going to have to shift in the way that you approach this. And so here, your programming background is not going to help you, but what is going to help you are your soft skills. So in quite a lot of videos I make the claim that as you get higher and higher up, your soft skills will matter more and more. Your engineering skills are always going to be valuable because your technical understanding is the thing that gives you value. It's almost like the gateway thing. It's the first thing you have to establish so that you can get into the industry. But once you are in the industry, if you want to climb higher, well, again, from a junior level up to senior, it's still easy because it's more or less just engineering stuff. As you were saying, you've been doing the same thing for 6 years and have the same state. That is because you are most likely, my guess now, doing exactly that. Your coding is going up, you have suggestions for improvements, you have A, B, and C, and so forth and so forth. The thing that you lack is the social skills necessary to understand office politics. And that's the key difference. The reason why I can make that claim is because in the time I have been a software developer, I have gone from like in my first say 4, 5, 6-ish, like something like years, so like basically the same time that it took that you have been working at the very least. I went from being a junior up to being a team lead fairly early on. But in the last just 2-ish years, I went from being a team lead to basically running like entire departments within these larger organizations, and I'm well, assuming now that everything goes as it should, I'm getting to a point now where there is no more, like, I can't get higher apart from, like, I can get higher up in terms of a company, but when it comes to my technical expertise and the sort of responsibilities that I have, there is nothing higher, unless, like, I don't know, some super corporation says, "Hey, Frederick, we want you to basically do exactly what I'm doing now, but for millions and millions and millions, for like at the CTO level or something like that." Because being a CTO now at a small startup, that's on the table for me, no problem. That's not a problem. It's when it comes to like the really high, like gigantic corporations, it becomes more difficult. But the way I got there has a bit to do with the software and the coding and stuff like that, but it has more with understanding some fundamentals about how office politics works. So one of the first things that you have to understand is that coding is just one part of what gives you value to your organization. So if you don't know how to sell your ideas, you don't know how to build a reputation in the office space, you don't know how to have an impact that goes outside the code and your specific project, you will never get here. The thing that's going to make you climb is that you have to show that you are capable of leading, that you have good ideas, and that people genuinely go to you because you're either most likely you have a lot of domain knowledge and you're very helpful, these sorts of things. That's all you have to establish, really, and that is the thing that is going to get you to go higher. And then, of course, as I said, you can never underestimate how important it is to be in the right company. Sometimes you are in a situation where you have to apply for a job somewhere else in order to get the sort of responsibilities that you're looking for, because the specific company you might find yourself in may not have any career paths for you. I've been there myself a few times where I know for a fact that they want me to stay, but they can't offer me anything in terms of like career progression. So then I tell them I'm going to leave to go to a company where I have those sort of options. But the first tip I can give you is to do the thing that I usually do. If you follow my tip about doing the code inventory, where I basically, as I said in a few videos, the main idea behind the inventory is that you have to know your shit. Knowing technology is super important, being a technical expert and all that stuff that you get to be a software developer for. That's great. Know that, because that's the foundation. But the second foundation is that you have to know that specific company's domain. You have to know where are all the projects, what are different systems do you have, how do they want to do work, what are the different stakeholders, who are the most, the movers and the shakers, who are all the software developers, what types of problems do you have in your organization, what is working, what is not working. You have to have a business mindset. You have to understand that the way that company operates at some level, because it's with that insight that you can come with relevant suggestions and connect with the right people. This is where the networking comes in. I can tell you that for my past few jobs, it's always been the same. Doesn't matter which department they put me in. Within the first few weeks, I get people sending me messages from completely different departments that I've never even talked to them. And what they all tell me is, I got your name from that person, or that person, or that person. Do you know how I get there? Well, the first thing I do is that every team I work with, I teach them the value of service-mindedness, to being service-minded. If you are always very nice to people, you're effective in terms of execution, so you know how to help them solve their problems, you know your domain, as I said, you've done the inventory, you know how everything works, you can answer their questions, and you respond promptly, and they feel like, well, it's pretty nice to talk to Frederick, and he usually knows how to solve my problems, or if he doesn't know, he sends me to someone who can help you. The best way I can describe it is take a page from the people who are extremely good at support, like call centers and things like that. The people who really know how to take to really treat a customer, like basically how to treat a customer well. Take their playbook, the way that they approach dealing with other humans, and apply those social skills to your engineering mindset and all the solutions and ideas that you have. And then you have to do a little bit of networking. As I said, you have to be on the radar for some of the people who actually matter. When I apply these sorts of principles and I train my team to do the same thing, the same thing always happens. I know for a fact that I have the technical skills to guarantee success on basically any project at this point, almost regardless. So I know how to do that part. I also know how to train my people and myself to treat my stakeholders the way that they would like to be treated, so that they feel like we know what they need, we know how to do the things that matter to them, and we focus on bringing value to those people, so they really feel like, yeah, these are good people. And if you just do those things, you will start to see, and this is what happens to me, like I start getting people who I'd never even talked to them. They just want to talk to me because I come recommended from other people who have talked to me. It's literally the thing that that marketing is about, guys. It's literally the thing that all these products that you are buying, you get recommendations from your friends and so forth. It's literally the same thing. You're simply marketing yourself as a go-to person, and that's the key. Being a go-to person is the thing that gets you on the radar. And then you show off your technical skills. You show off that you understand the business. You relate to people. You have the soft skills to understand different types of stakeholders. That your manager feels one thing is important. Your developers feel that another thing is important. And then you have to practice knowing, well, basically, how do you get results that feel valuable to all the various types of people that you're dealing with. If you can master all those things, and trust me, like I'm trying to help you as much as I can, because I can unfortunately not just transfer everything I know into, like, I guess, make you understand immediately, so I'm trying to do it through each of these videos. But if you can get to that point, I promise you are going to see yourself go upwards, because it really is that simple. It's just very tricky to teach other people it. As I said, it's a little bit like being an engineer, a sales rep, and a call center support person at the same time. You have to have a little bit of all these things, and if you combine these things together, office politics is a cakewalk, guys. It really is. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you want to stop being a doer and actually being an achiever and come up, like, get higher in the organization, the first thing you have to understand is that you have to be a go-to person. That's number one. And no matter how many ideas you have, if you don't know how to solve problems that people care about, because nobody cares about your refactor, nobody cares about A, B, and C, so forth, you have to speak their lingo. When I go and I say that I want a refactor, I'm not in any way saying refactor. I simply say to my stakeholders, so I've noticed that you have some issues, because the first thing is not, do we need a refactor? The first thing is to figure out, what do they care about? Do they feel like they have a lot of bugs? Is that the issue? Is it that people are not responding? Do they feel like they don't really know what to do? Is there unclarities, uncertainty? You have to know your customer. And in this case, your customer is all the people that work with you. And so once you figure out what their needs are, you now have to think about, okay, so how do you communicate that in a way that feels palatable? That's what the sales comes into. Nobody wants to buy a very expensive product, but so instead of saying that, yeah, this refactor is going to cost a lot of money, but it's going to be really beneficial, you have to come up with a way of doing it without making them feel like it's going to cost a lot of money. You have to know how to sell. You have to sell your ideas. It's that simple. And the best way to get exposed to all these people and get all that practice I'm talking about is, number one, have a service mindset. Become a really stable engineer. Do your inventory so that you know the domain and so forth, so you can answer questions and so forth, and then treat other people as if you were paid to treat them well, and to try to figure out how to so forth. Support mindset or service mindedness. Do these things, and I promise you, if your ideas are good and you're really effective at this, you start noticing that people come to you with help, with requests. They want your ideas. They want your thoughts on things. This is when you're doing all the right, making all the right moves. Try this. It works, at least for me. And all I can say is that, guys, I am at a place now, career-wise, where people who have worked twice or sometimes 3 times as long as I have are not. It's not necessarily because they don't know how to do this. I'm not saying this or that. I'm just saying that if you really want to make a fairly significant rise in terms of how far up you get, it's very feasible to do so, and it doesn't take your entire career to get there. Have a great day.